Hello everybody and welcome to cEDH TV gameplay. We have an old friend back, Zack.
Hey guys, I'm back. I've taken a little bit of a break, but hopefully I've still got it and I can come back and win some more games. We'll see. So I'm still playing Vadrik, still enjoying Vadrik. And there might be a few changes. I can't really remember the list last time I was on here, but it's the same shenanigans, just trying to storm off and control the game as much as possible until I can storm off. So just typical is-it stuff.
Me, I'm doing Esper Pirates. Don't need to say much about this one. It's an Esper control list with lots of value, and hopefully we can get something like Demonic Consultation and Thassa's Oracle, or another combo that's in here.
Today I'm playing Kinnan. This is Pingmeister's Pong turbo variant of Kinnan that focuses on just turboing out mana into a bunch of different value engines and usually winning through like a Hullbreaker horror. Supposed to be fun.
I'm playing Demir Oskar, which is a discard themed oriented deck that is trying to discard stuff basically and just play Demir control in various forms. So this hand is actually keepable. Like we're missing a land, but that might be fine because we have a Chromox, so we can do Sol Ring, then drop Currency Converter into play turn 1. But I mean, we should probably mulligan this. Like we don't have we have some decent stuff, like Jace is pretty good, but it will be a Jace turn 2. If you just have a land here, it's a Jace turn 1. I actually think we can get better. Like these cards are decent, but they're not over the top. Sol Ring is good, but we're lacking a land, so in the end we're going to mulligan. We're missing lands still. Mox Opal is not going to be live. We have a command tower only, which means we can't cast Ghostly Pilferer or Gilded Drake, so we're going to mulligan once more, going to 6. Now we have 2 lands and a Mana Vault. We don't really have anything to do here, except that we do have a Gilded Drake and a Reanimate, and we can play the game kinda steadily here. Is there any commander I want to steal? I don't want to steal Kinnan. I could steal Malcolm, I can steal Tymna. Stealing Vadrik doesn't really do anything for me. I can steal both Malcolm and Tymna because of the Chain of Vapor. Except he can sacrifice the land to get the Tymna back that I steal first. I think I'm gonna keep this anyway. Putting Animate Dead to the bottom of the library. Holding this. So turn him on, Mana Vault. Turn to potentially Gilded Drake. Or just turn to Malcolm. The Orcish Oskar with Mana Vault. It's not a great hand. Maybe I should honestly mulligan this. But I think I'm gonna have a game with this regardless. Taking Tymna is kind of good. Wait a minute, Tymna against these guys isn't gonna do much because everyone is gonna have blockers more or less. Vadrik is gonna be a good blocker. Kinnan might have blockers eventually. I'm torn. Like this, I don't think this Gilded is going to overperform enough. You know what, I'm actually going to 5. Instantly punished. No lands. That's been the theme of the entire mulligan so far. I would love to keep this hand. Going to 4. We have a Talion, and that's kinda it. But we can keep this. Like mulligan down to a value engine that you get into play early is kinda good. So we're going to bottom delay. We're going to bottom counter spell. And then begs the question, Dark Ritual or Mana Vault or Mox Diamond. The plan is to have Talion into play as fast as we can and then accumulate value from this. I think that the answer... If I top take a land, which doesn't seem to be the theme of this deck because my opening hands have been kind of empty of lands, but if I do top take a land, we can actually get Talion into play turn 1 here by using Dark Ritual. Mana Vault will not help me get Talion into play early. Dark Ritual is better. I'm going to bottom the Mana Vault. Some of you might say, I should have stayed at my 6. But honestly, I kinda like my 4 a little bit better than my 6. Gilded Drake is good, but I don't think that Gilded Drake will be that good versus the opponents that I currently have. I think Talion is gonna be better, especially considering I'm playing against some Stormy decks kinda. I'm living the dream of top decking a land here. If I don't, I'm gonna be sad. This hand is definitely a tiny bit all in, and we could get stuck and look silly, but hopefully it will work out.
This first 7, Sol Ring's very tempting. We can get Malcolm out on turn 2. You can even get Tymna out on turn 2. We don't have much to do on turn 1, so I don't know. Maybe we just go deeper into the can. Let's just try it. Now, this is a spicy kind of hand, I might say. But also, I think a little bit of a trap, because I could exile something with Gemstone Caverns and get out Esper Sentinel, but then I'm relying on drawing cards very quickly, or even having another card to play after that. I mean, I could play turn 1 Esper Sentinel, that's fine. I just don't think there's much gas otherwise, because I'm just really mana short. So let's go to 6. I like this one. Turn 2, it's serviceable. We have Flesh Duplicate using sort of creatures and so forth. I mean, if I wanted to make like a second Gilded Drake and potentially steal 2 commanders, that could be quite powerful. I have 3 mana. I can play 2 on turn 1. If there's anything that's bananas for turn 1, we have Chain of Vapor we could play as well. We also have Born Upon a Wind, which could be useful for stealing something with Gilded Drake, although we probably won't use it at that point, that early in the game. So let's just go with this one. Focus on getting out our commander on turn 2.
This hand isn't the worst hand I've ever seen, but it's also not especially good. We have a turn 2 Twister, and that's basically it. We have no acceleration except for the Ancient Tomb, which is very mid. We can't really do Ancient Tomb into a significant play turn 1. So yeah, this is not good enough for a first 7. I might have kept this on like a 5, but we're on a first 7, so let's go to second 7. If only this hand had the Ancient Tomb, that would be gas. Sadly, we don't though. We don't have the mana to even get down the Talisman guaranteed, or Fellow Stone. So I can't really keep this. If this hadn't had like a Mana Crypt or Sol Ring, it would be really gas. But since we don't have any of those and we don't have the second land, I'm not going to gamble on keeping this. So I am going to 6. I thought Kinnan was kind of known for just having a lot of mana. That's not been my experience. Yeah, this hand has 1 land and no acceleration. We have a One Ring, which would be nice to land, but we have no way to get to the One Ring. We have a Rock in Energy Refractor, but it doesn't actually do mana, it just converts mana and draws a card. So that's not really what we want to see. So we'll have to go to 5. Please just give me mana. That's all I want. Mana, please. I'm starting to wonder if this deck actually runs fast mana. I know it does, but I can't find it. Once again, we just have 1 land. We don't really have any payoffs here. Like, you have Conch Sphinx. Conch Sphinx would be awesome to land, but we have no way to get there. We have like a Phyrexian Metamorphs, but there is actually only 1 Dockside deck in the pod. We have like Miscast, and we have like Moonsilver Key for Basalt, but like all of these are kind of mid plans to win with, and we don't have the mana to get there. So yeah, we're not keeping this. We're mulling harder for more mana. We at least won't have enough mana to guarantee a Kinnan. Yeah, let's go to 4. So we found mana, and that's amazing. I wish this hand would have come like on a 5 or a 6. That would have been great. Now it didn't. So we're obviously mulliganing away the Chain of Vapor and the Whirly Tutor, because while both of those are good cards, they're not really gonna help us long term. The Whirly Tutor could kinda do some work, but I feel like we need to keep too many cards. We're probably bottoming a land as well. So I guess the question becomes, do we keep Elvish Mystic, Sol Ring, or Whirly Tutor? If you look at our payoffs, we don't really have any payoffs that cost just 1 colored mana. So if we were to keep Whirly Tutor, we would kind of have to keep like Elvish Mystic or a second land as well. So that would mean that we would mulligan away the Sol Ring. And if we mulligan away the Sol Ring, then we have a turn 3 or turn 4. I guess it's like a turn 4 Conch Sphinx. And I think I'd rather just spin Kinnan turn 3. It's not guaranteed at all, but we have more live draws from just having a lot of mana. So that means I will just keep a handful of mana and hopefully draw into action, or just spin Kinnan until I win. Or we just lose. That's a huge possibility with this hand. This is still the best hand we had so far, which is amazing.
Okay, this is actually sort of decent. So we've got turn 1 Rock and Chivalry, which gets me a turn 2 Vadrik with... I mean, we've only got 1 land, so it's kind of a struggle. Winds of Rebuke to interact if needed. That gets rid of a Kinnan or a Malcolm, depending on what I need. Electro Dominance as well. We've got one of our win cons in hand, as well as a Frantic Search to dig for value. So I actually think we just snap keep this.
Moment of truth. Draw a card. Yes! Yes! Never punished. I believed in this deck every single moment of my entire life. We're going to begin by playing a Mox Diamond, ditching the card we just drew, which is a command tower. Go to the grave, we don't need you. Land for turn will be a Mr. Rainforest. Sacrifice that to find an underground sea. Tap this for a black. Cast a dark ritual, gaining 3 black mana. And then 1 blue And boom, Talion. I'm playing Oskar, I promise. We're just gonna have a different Dimir commander for a while before that. I'm going to say value number 1. And then I will pass the turn.
Take my turn, draw a card. Land for turn is a good old island. Chromux, I will pitch Chain of Vapor. We are going to tap these two and cast Flush Duplicate to make a copy of Talion. And because it becomes a copy of Talion, I will declare 2. So we have 1 and 2 cost with the Italians on the battlefield right now. I have 3 cards in hand, and I will pass turn.
Go to my turn. Land for turn will be a Rejuvenating Springs. I'll tap Rejuvenating Springs for a green and use that to cast a Elvish Mystic. That will trigger Talion. I will lose 2 life, Mons will draw a card, and then I will pass my turn.
We will start with a Mana Crypt, and then we will tap that for a Talisman, triggering Talion. If that's good, I will then play a Shivan Reef as my land for turn, and then I'll cast a Chrome Mox. We'll imprint Winds of Rebuke. 3, taking 1 damage from my Shivan Reef to attempt to cast Vadrik, which will trigger both Talions, so I lose another 5. And I will then pass the turn.
Turn goes to me. I will untap and draw a card. Gotta prevent it from becoming night here, so let's cast this Mana Crypt. Let's land drop Urborg. My Talion buddy Rhetoric, I have a thing I want to mention. So you have a Talion, I have a Talion, I can't attack you, you can't attack me, we have both great blockers, so to say. Which means we might just sit here and do nothing with them, because both of us are using life as a resource. However, if there's an advantage for you, that if I get to attack someone, that would be good for you theoretically, because it would hurt Pontus and this Vadrik player, as Vadrik might use his life as a resource, considering we have a stacks piece that is consuming his life as the worded Italian. So if we punch him enough, he is gonna struggle. But if we don't, we're just gonna sit here with Italians and don't do that. So my proposal is, if I attack Vadrik, will you not attack me please back?
Yeah, we can go for it, sure.
Cool. Punch you for free, Zack, with my flying birdie.
I mean, I don't approve of this game plan, but I take 3 to the face.
After this, I'm passing the turn.
Untap, draw a card. Yeah, I'm gonna do Godless Shrine actually. Losing 2 life to cast Tymna. Move to combat, I'll attack Pontus for 3.
No blocks, take 3.
Fantastic. Second main phase, I will trigger Tymna, I will lose a life, draw a card. And with that, I pass turn.
Go to my turn. I will just tap 2 mana to cast a Kinnan, triggering just Rhetoric's Talion, taking 2 and Rhetoric and draw a card. And with Kinnan in play, I'll pass my turn.
Flip a coin. Heads is always going to be safe. Tails damage. Tails, I take another 3. And draw. I'm going to move through phases and attempt to pass the turn. Cool. At the start of Mons' turn, it will flip to nighttime, and Vadrik will get +1/+1 counter.
Heads is damage. Heads I take 3 and will draw a card for turn. 4 mana to cast the One Ring. The One Ring hits. I have protection from everything. This means I don't need to do the same deal with Rhetoric, but I'm not gonna attack Rhetoric. I'm gonna attack Zack for free again.
I'm not having fun. I'll take 3.
I'm gonna activate the One Ring, tap it, draw a card, burden counter on it, pass the turn.
Draw a card. Then for turn is Watery Grave. I'll shock it in. I will go straight to combat. So we'll send Talion at Zack, Tymna at Pontus.
No blocks, take 2.
No blocks, take 3.
Right then. So post combat main phase, I will take Tymna will trigger. So I will lose 2 and draw 2 cards. 1, 2. I will play a Lotus Petal. We'll also play a Mox Diamond, or Mox Amber, excuse me. Sack Lotus Petal. Tap this for black. Tap this for black as well. We will then cast Spellseeker.
Talion will also trigger and I get to draw a card.
Card is Demonic Consultation. I will then tap Water Grave for black, cast Dark Ritual. Lose a life, or lose 2 life, and I lose 2 life and you draw a card, Mons.
I got a bad feeling about this. Pass.
Dark Ritual, got 3 black. I will then tap these 2 for blue, cast Thassa's Oracle.
Talion will trigger, I will draw a card. Lotus Petal, Mox Amber, Dark Ritual, Spellseeker, and Thassa's Oracle. I think you have been doing too much. You have accidentally stepped on my trap. I will Mind Break Trap Thassa's Oracle. The reason for actually doing this, I could wait a little bit longer, but I think I'm okay with you having Consult in your hand, because that Consult can convert into interaction, I guess. Maybe I should counter that. But sending Thassa's Oracle to exile feels kind of good, because there are reanimation effects in that library. So this would make it a little bit more annoying for him, because I'm hurting his plan B here if Phastos goes to exile.
Well, fellas, what do we say here on the channel? I've been thwarted. Good job, Mons. I went for it. I said, why not? Let's see. So that gets exiled, and I still have 3 black in the pool. Now, I do have a demonic consultation, which you all know about. There's not much to actually do with it at the moment. So I'm just going to pass my turn from there with 5 cards in hand.
Pontus, at the start of your turn, it will become daytime, and Vadrik will get a +1/+1 counter.
I go to my turn, then I'll draw a card. I will cast a Mana Crypt. I will tap Mana Crypt, float 2 mana, cast a Sol Ring, trigger Mons' Talion, and I'll take 2 damage. I will tap Sol Ring to have 5 colorless in the pool, tap Elvish Mystic for 2 green, and Runic Springs for a blue, have 1 green floating, activate Kinnan. I will flip 5 cards into my hand. I will put this Bloom Tender into play. I'll put the rest on the bottom, and then I will pass my turn.
So in your end step, I will tap Mana Crypt, Talisman, Chrome Mox for blue, tap my land for black using the Herb Orb. So 2, 3, 4, 5. Reduction of 3, 8. I'll cast a Drowning Dreams, X being 5, to draw myself 5 cards and to mill Kinnan 10 cards. No, I'll just mill myself 10 cards. I'll mill myself 10 and draw myself 5. Right, relevant cards in graveyard. Mill Desperate Ritual, Force of Will, Pirate's Pillage, Filter Out, Unsubstantiate, Mindbreak Trap, Dockside, Felwar Stone, and 2 lands. I will flip for my Mana Crypt. Head, so no damage. I will untap and draw. Volcanic Island is my land for turn. Cast Intuition. Have a look at my library.
So this is my thought process, guys. So he's getting Past in Flame, Seething Song, and Big Score. So Seething Song, Big Score are rituals. They will like be mana for him. And with his Vadrik, he's basically just paying 1 red for like 5 red mana. And then he has Past in Flames, which is his Underworld Breach here. I think we should give him the Past in Flames, because if we put Past in Flames in his graveyard, and we give him any of the other rituals, he can first cast Seething Song, gain a bunch of mana, then he casts Past in Flames from his graveyard, and now he can recast the Seething Song. So to give him less value, because Past in Flames can't be reused several times, okay, we could counterspell it, I guess, but I still think that giving him Past in Flames here is the correct decision, strangely.
Big Score to grave, Seething Song to grave. I will tap both my lands for blue, floating a blue mana for a Frantic Search. Cool, I will draw 2. And then discard a Misty Rainforest and a Polluted Delta, and untap both my lands. So I've still got blue mana floating now. I'll tap for a red and attempt to cast Past in Flames.
Right. I think because I'm noticing there's a lot of value to be gained from this, I'm going to Memory Track Past in Flames.
Okay, I will respond. I'll use my blue floating mana. I will attempt to delay, triggering Talion.
Yeah, that resolves. I drew a card, but got nothing to say about that afterwards.
Past in Flames is good. I will tap for a red, taking another damage. I will cast Pirate's Pillage. As an additional cost, I'll discard a mountain. So that will get me 2 treasure, same as Big Score. Exile it. So Pirate's Pillage is just a sorcery version of Big Score. So it discards a card as an additional cost and then draws me 2 and makes 2 treasure. So it's another ritual effect that gains me some cards. So that's now an exile. I'll draw 2 more cards. Sacrifice a treasure and cast Big Score. Doing the same thing, I will discard Steam Vents, and that will do exactly the same effect. Draw 2, go up to 3 treasure. Okay, we will then sacrifice a treasure to cast Intuition. We'll get Mystic Retrieval, Reiterate, Underworld Breach.
I don't think it matters that much, but I think Retrieval is the most limiting card there, so that's what you'll get to have.
So we will tap for a blue, cast Mystic Retrieval, targeting Seething Song. So Mystic Retrieval, in this case, will cost me 1 blue, and it returns an instant sorcery card from my graveyard to my hand, gets me Seething Song back, and it has flashback itself as well for 2 and a red. So then I will sacrifice 1 treasure to cast Seething Song, gaining me 5 red mana. Then we will flashback Mystic Retrieval using 1 of the red mana, targeting Reiterate, get me Reiterate back to my hand. And so what we will now do is use 2 of my red floating to cast Electro Dominance, X being 3, targeting Kinnan player. So some of you might be getting some deja vu from some previous videos, but how this works is I cast Electro Dominance, X being 3 or more. As long as whenever X is 3, it will free cast Reiterate. So you can go any number. So I could sync Mana Crypt into it as well to make it 5, as long as it's above the 3. And so then I hold priority on that and cast Reiterate with buyback, targeting Electro Dominance. So the buyback is reduced by Vadrik, so it reduces it by 3, meaning the buyback is free. So then the copy of Electro Dominance goes on the stack, and the copy will resolve casting Reiterate, which is returned to my hand for free. And the Reiterate, which has been cast for free by Electro Dominance, will have the buyback paid for by Vadrik, and that will target the original Electro Dominance to repeat this loop. I have, however, just realised a problem with my plan. One of our people at the table has protection from everything, so I can kill 2 of our players. I cannot kill Oskar. How this will end will be Reiterate will go to my hand, the other 2 players will be bombed out at the table, and there'll be 1 Electro Dominance on the stack, X being 3. Well, that will resolve, and it will be casting a spell for free. So I can use the loop to remove the Talion to stop me killing myself somehow. So with the last copy of Electro Dominance, I'm going to cast Gamble for free from my hand. So I'll get Inspired Tinkering, and then I'll discard a card at random and hope it's not Reiterate. Shatterskull Smashing is gone, so irrelevant. Flashback my Frantic Search using my last remaining treasure. That will draw me 2 cards, discard City of Brass and Bloodstained Mire, and untap both my lands. So I'll use the 1 colourless I had floating and 1 red to cast Inspired Tinkering. So this is sort of a Jeska's Will effect, like it gets me 3 treasures and it exiles the top 3 cards of my library until the end of my next turn, and I can cast them. And because of Vadrik, it only costs me 2 mana. So this will get me treasures, 3 of them, which hopefully is enough, and exile the top 3. We get a Whirlwind Denial, we get a Simian Spirit Guide, and we get a Sudden Breakthrough. So Simian Spirit Guide is useless. Sack a treasure to Sudden Breakthrough targeting Vadrik, which gives it 2 more power, which will get me a treasure back as well. We will then sacrifice 1 treasure to flashback Past in Flames, which gives all of the new spells that are now in my graveyard flashback as well. So we will then sacrifice 1 treasure for Seething Song, and hold priority on that, and reiterate that for infinite red mana. So resolving that with infinite red mana, a reiterate goes back to my hand, Seething Song is exiled. I will flashback Inspired Tinkering with 1 of the red to get me some treasure, and exile the top 3 cards again. So Inspired Tinkering is gone. I actually could have just looped that to exile my deck, which would have been quicker, I think. But we will sack a treasure to solve the equation, which will go and fetch me my winning piece here, which was Delayed Blast Fireball. So then using my infinite red, I will cast Delayed Blast Fireball from my hand. I will hold priority and reiterate that infinitely to deal infinite damage to Oskar, because it does not target.
I'm happy
means I can't target
happy
him,
for
right?
you, but protection also means can't take damage. So all the damage that I take is ignored. So you can't target me and I can't take damage. For example, if you attack me with a creature, I don't take any damage from the creature attack. So I am not dying still.
Using some of my infinite red, cast Sudden Breakthrough and reiterate that to give me infinite treasures. So I'll use Mizzix's Mastery, targeting Solve the Equation in my graveyard, because Solve the Equation was cast after Past in Flame, so it did not have flashback, so I needed a way to get another search effect. So Solve the Equation will go to exile, and Mizzix's Mastery will also go to exile. I will search my library for an instant sorcery spell, and this will get me a Lightning Bolt to my hand. I have infinite treasure. I will cast my LED because I can. I'll cast Simian Spirit Guide because I can. Whirlwind Denial I can cast until the end of my next turn, and then I will move to pass the turn.
I will untap, and there's a crypt trigger, and heads is damage. Who cares? No, tails, no damage. So are you gonna try to kill me now with your lightning bolt and reiterate infinitely here?
Yeah, so I'll respond to your One Ring and Mana Crypt triggers by using some of my treasure to cast a lightning bolt targeting your face, and then hold priority and reiterate targeting your face.
Do you have a counter spell for a Vamp Tutor that I can cast in response and then draw the card with the One Ring to try to survive it?
I have Whirlwind Denial, which will counter any abilities or spells you have.
Then I'm out of luck. I have no more instant speed tricks.
But you can actually pay for it.
Ah!
So I would actually let you Vamp Tutor.
I will cast Vamp Tutor, finding this card, putting it on top of my library, activating the One Ring, putting a burden counter.
I'll respond to the activation of the One Ring and attempt to Whirlwind Denial it to counter it unless you pay 4 mana.
I pay exactly 4 mana.
Cool.
And with my Pact of Negation, I will counterspell your Lightning Bolt. So Reiterate will also fizzle here, because it doesn't have a target, so it goes to Graveyard. Then I'm gonna draw a card for turn. I didn't expect to get here. The One Ring is amazing. I'll play Drowned Catacombs, a Mox Amber, and then I'm gonna tap this and cast an Imperial Seal. I will find this cool card with my Imp Seal and put it on top of my library, and then I pass the turn and hope I survive.
Okay, so we've got infinite treasure, so mana is not a problem. So I'm going to start. I'm going to Ottawara targeting your 1-1. Use a treasure for Wheel of Fortune. I will cast Invent to search my library for an instant and a sorcery card. If I can't get here now, I probably should stop playing. Okay, yeah, so we'll go for a Recall, which is a sorcery, and a Fierce Guardianship. So we'll then cast Recall, returning some stuff from my graveyard, Lightning Bolt and Reiterate, and I have to discard 2 cards to get them back. Yeah, I can now repeat the combo with 2 pieces of protection, and finally kill him with no protection. GG's, it's good to be back.
Big congratulations there, winning the match. What do you think of Vadrik? So as some of you might know, I've been calculating statistics on various commanders now and then. Vadrik does not have a really big showcase yet. They have only been 11 tournament entries, but now we have a Vadrik champion, a Vadrik prodigy, someone who loves Vadrik. What's your take? What do you think about this? You've been doing some really good on this channel with Vadrik, but yeah.
Yeah, so I managed to get top 16 in one of the recent chaoses with it as well. I think most of these entries are probably me as well. I love it personally. I think it's a really fun deck. It's really fun because a lot of people don't know what to expect or don't know when to interact, and you've probably heard some of our conversations of, do I counter this bit, do I counter that bit? And you look at most of the cards and it's just like, oh, it's a bad card, I don't need to deal with it. And then suddenly I've exiled my deck, I've got infinite mana, or I've burned someone out 2 turns in a row. It's just a wild load of fun. It's quite like the Heliod deck and stuff like that, where you can just go crazy out of nowhere.
Your commander, the best way to interact with Vadrik is to kill the commander, because then suddenly all of those really strange cards are suddenly bad cards.
Yeah, and I think we had one game on here where I was paying 11 mana for a Vadrik, and it's quite a feel bad at that point, but because he only costs 3, you can cast him turn 1 and then someone kills it, so you cast it again, and up to about 7 mana it's still a value engine to cast, and it's so easy to pump his power up, it's still worth it.
Mulling to 4 doesn't really give you the room to interact with it, so this game I had interaction for it, but I'm not gonna take the turn off from like developing when I'm already that far behind.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
Couldn't you activate Kinnan in instant speed though?
No, because I had to float mana to do stuff. Like I had to tap the Sol Ring to cast.
I see. So yeah, you were tapped out anyway. I didn't draw any creature removal. I drew my Mindbreak Trap. That was it. And one ring apparently that did something.
Yeah, I had Gilded Drake in my hand, but ended up having a really good top deck with like Dark Ritual and drawing all those cards. So I was like, I'm just gonna go for it. But I think if I didn't, because I was looking at Kinnan, I was looking at Vadrik. I'm like, I don't know what these actually do for me right now, other than just taking the things. So I perhaps should have just should have done it. But I think it's also valuable just to go for it, you know.
So when you tried to go for Thoracle, I was sat here with 2 different ways to make you draw cards at instant speed. So I was just sat here. I was like, right, I'm just gonna not interact at all until the last second. If no one counters it, I'll just make you lose.
Oh.
It was like, it's a win-win. Either someone else uses interaction or you lose the game. So it works perfectly for me.
That helped you out, because that meant that my Mindbreak Trap didn't. Oh, well, on the other hand, Redrick's Mindbreak Trap fired at you anyway, so.
Yeah, well, it helped me out a lot because it meant I could use my Drowning Dreams on myself rather than making you draw.
Oh,
so
that's
that
true.
got me a lot further.
That's it for this time. Hope you enjoyed the match. And Vadrik Saki is back. He had an amazing win rate on this channel before, and hope you come back again. In any case, guys,
Fingers
see you
crossed.
next time.